Welcome to another episode of Chip Sports Talk. And welcome to NFL Week 16 of the 2023 NFL season. We've seen one division clinched. We have three other teams have solidified their stake in the postseason. Races are getting interesting for the top seeds. Races are getting interesting to find out who gets in. It's all coming down. Does Tomlin have his first losing season? Is Belichick out as Patriots head coach? There's already been one firing already this season. Or we already know one fire, but one fired after the end of week 15. And we kind of go over a little bit of what happened in week 15, give you my results and quick little rundown of last week's action. So last week I did extremely well. I went one game better than I did the previous week. I went 11-5. I was really confident until the matinee games of Sunday and Monday kind of ruined everything for me. Did extremely well in the Saturday games, swept all those. Won Thursday. Was doing extremely well on Sunday. A few games definitely caught me by surprise. They caught everyone by surprise, but that's just how things kind of go from here on out. And there's also one major news. So let's go ahead and kick off last Thursday where the Raiders were playing host to the Chargers, AFC West showdown. The backups were running the show. Herbert's pretty much done for the season. I think Staley was trying to coach for his job. And the Chargers just don't have any fight in them. You saw that, and that they had no fight at all. The Raiders went up 42-0 at half. That's right. 42-0 at halftime. And I mean, the Raiders can score a single point against Minnesota. Right off 42 points in one half. They actually ended up setting a franchise record for most points scored in a game with 63. So once again, we have another lopsided game. I mean, you had that with Miami over Denver with 70 points. The Raiders had 63 over the Chargers as they trounced them 63-21 to keep them in the playoff hunt, pushing the Chargers out of being eliminated. Not quite there yet, but it's not looking good for them. Like 40, in less than 24 hours later, Staley and the GM were fired by the Chargers organization. They couldn't make it past Christmas, and they were let go. Now, I'm not sure why the GM was let go, but I understand the coach. This team has definitely underperformed under his leadership. He had one good season. Now it's his first year to make it to the playoffs, and he's never made it back since, despite the talent he had on that team. One heck of a way for me to start my NFL week. And then Saturday game, Bengals taking on the Vikings. This is Browning taking on the third stringer now for Minnesota as Joshua Dobbs was benched. And this one was painful for Cincinnati. They struggled early in the game. I mean, they couldn't score anything except for 3 points in 3 quarters. They were down 17-3 in the fourth. Managed a huge comeback this in the game overtime, 24-all, where they won on a last-second field goal to get the Bengals a 27-24 victory in OT. But they have lost players along the way. So their viability for the rest of the season is in question because of injuries. Then over in Indianapolis, where the Colts just completely decimated the Steelers. Trubinsky, I mean, he's not even playing like he did in his years in Chicago, his final years in Chicago. He is off. He has no timing with anyone. There's been a lot of criticism of Pickens lately, not really giving his all. And there's a few plays you've seen here and there where he doesn't block, where he probably should. He just runs his route haphazardly. doesn't really attempt to put himself in danger to make those catches. He's pushed back on that criticism, but the tails on the Tates brother, he's like a Claypool. He just in it for himself, and there's no doubting his playability and his talent. I'm not questioning that, whatever. I'm questioning his willingness to take the necessary risk for the team. But I don't play. I don't make those contracts. I'm just a guy sitting behind in front of a camera, giving you my 2 cents on the take. But Indianapolis completely dismantled Pittsburgh. Tomlin's streak of non-winning season is definitely in jeopardy. I said it was last year. I thought he was going to actually have his first losing season. Excuse me. He made me eat my words. There's a lot of rumbling that this could possibly hamper. Minshew had a hell of a game, and the Colts continue to make their surprising run. The nightcap Saturday, you had Detroit taking on Denver, and good grief, Detroit came out firing all cylinders like I thought they would. Goff throws for 5 touchdowns. There was a lot of miscues on Denver once again. Offensive lineman was lined off offsides. You're starting to see the refs call this more and more. Pay attention to that offensive line and the alignment of the offensive players. And it's really getting people just irate. Shaw Payton just go off on the ref and Russell Wilson on that play. That just nullified any a touchdown by the Broncos. But Detroit was way too much for Denver, 42-17. Continuing my winning ways, the 4 games so far. Sunday, Flacco and the Browns. There's a word combination you never thought to hear. We're playing host to the Chicago Bears. Winners 2 in a row. Can they make it 3? He made it interesting. There's no question about that. I said if Flacco was able to kind of mimic when he did his previous start, should be no issue because Flacco is a very savory veteran. Unfortunately, with the Jets, I think that's just a bad time frame he had there. He's been bounced around quite a bit. He just doesn't want to hang up the cleats. He's going to be out there in the wheelchair if he keeps this up. But with him leading the charge, teams rallied around him. He ended up still over 300 yards passing. He did have 3 picks, though. So that's a little concerning. But when players were having the ball, they were actually finding ways to break tackles and keep on scoring. The Bears were just decent. I mean, they gave them a fight. And, I did pick Cleveland to win this one, but I was hoping for a Bears victory. But Cleveland ended up winning in the end. It was a Hail Mary attempt by Justin Fields. It actually hit Darnell Mooney's hand. It got tipped up, intercepted in the end zone, ended any chance of the Bears winning. Cleveland escapes 20-17. And they had the Battle of the Bay up there in Green Bay. It's Tampa Bay visited Green Bay. I picked the Packers. I kind of believed in Jordan Love more than I did Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has resurrected his career in Tampa Bay. Towards the end in Cleveland, he was trying too much, injured most of the time frame. And things just kind of fell apart in Cleveland. He found a nice backup role in L.A., felt comfortable there, tested the waters once again as a starter. And he had one magnificent game. Baker threw for 381 yards and 4 touchdowns. He lit up that defense. I mean, it was a rough go in the beginning, 13-10. I'm like, okay, fine. It is whatever. But Tampa Bay's defense continued to stifle Green Bay. Baker was able to pick apart the Green Bay defense. Tampa Bay rolled 34-20, giving me my first loss, and putting them in the driver's seat in that NASCAR division. Then we head to Nashville, where C.J. Stroud was out, so Case Keenum was back as a starter once again. Injuries were just a plenty between these two. A couple of good quarterbacks. I mean, Will Levis has really stepped up to the role, but Derrick Henry was stifled by this Houston defense. Both these defenses played phenomenal. But Derrick Henry could not get anything running, which stifled the Tennessee offense to one dimension, which made it a little bit easier. DeAndre Hopkins still had some magnificent catches and yardage. But in the end, it went into overtime, and Fairborn kicked a 54-yard field goal to win the game in in Nashville, for the victory for Houston. There we go. Giving me a loss number 2. Then we head down to Miami and seeing the Dolphins taking on the Jets. And I kind of said the Jets may make this a little bit closer, but I'm still going Miami. Miami took that and just ran with it. And they ran the ball. Mostert has actually didn't have a lot of yardage, but he kept scoring touchdowns, which was a huge factor. Him getting like the team record for most rushing touchdowns. Miami defense just stifled the Jets. Took out Zach Wilson. Miami was just way too much. I mean, even without Tyreek Hill, who just decided to sit out this week. Waddle stepped up to the plate, over 140 yards receiving. Only one touchdown. The only one touchdown Tua Tagovailoa threw as the Dolphins shut out the Jets 30-0 and continue my winning ways. Up to Foxborough, the Chiefs came to town. Patrick Mahomes went back to his normal self, over 300 yards passing. He did have 2 picks, by the way. But also the Chiefs' defense stepped up and stifled New England's offense, and they left Foxborough with a 27-17 victory. My third loss came down there in the Big Easy, where I thought the Giants was going to continue to ride that DeVito magic they had going, and apparently the Italianos don't function very well down there in the Bayou of Louisiana. As Derek Carr had a decent game, over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. As the Saints defense played havoc on the G-men, who has no offensive line, by the way. Barkley was stifled. DeVito didn't have time to make any type of throws. The Saints walked away 24-6. They get the pressure on the Bucs for that division lead. Out there in Charlotte, where the Panthers playing host to the Falcons, I called for the Panthers to have their second win of the season. In Atlanta, just could not get out of their way. Could not get out of their own way. They made things just too easy. The defense was decent enough. I mean, they allowed 0 touchdowns by the Panthers. However, the offense could not duplicate or reciprocate that aspect. They only scored 1 touchdown. Was not enough. Carolina won 9-7. And the Panthers win number 2 in the season. Head to L.A., where the Commanders came in town to take on the Rams. The Commanders made this more of a game than I think a lot of people wanted or realized it could happen. Stafford, decent numbers, 2 yards shy of 260 with 2 TDs. And they continue to find ways to continue to raise their stock in the NFC playoff race. Held on to beat Washington 28-20. Then we went out to Glendale, Arizona. Cardinals playing host to the 49ers. Right now, probably one of the greatest offensive teams this season. As the 49ers just had no issues. As McCaffrey had 100 yards rushing, touchdown. Purdy over 240 yards, 4 touchdowns. McCaffrey had 2 receiving touchdowns on top of his one rushing, as the 49ers just cruised 45-29 despite that late charge by Arizona towards the end of the game. Kind of even out put some points on the board. Wasn't even close. 49ers all day long with that victory clinched the NFC West. Cowboys headed to the plains of western New York, and the Buffaloes just stampeded them. Cook just ran like a fool. Almost 180 yards and a touchdown. They just ran. Josh Allen ran. That's all they did was run. I mean, just like if you ever watch Get Up and Jeff Saturday talks about the running game, that's what they did. Totally dismantled Dallas's aspects. Crushed them 31-10 by just running down the throats of the Cowboys. We'll see how, and it doesn't matter that the Buffalo defensive line had a field day in the backfield against Dak Prescott and just totally disrupt everything. So we'll see how these two continue their march towards the end of the season. Or is this disturbing time for Dallas, or is it good things for Buffalo? We'll have to see. Then we head down to Jacksonville. Baltimore came to town. And with this one, I really thought Jacksonville could bounce back. I mean, they had a glimmer of hope. I mean, Baltimore had them dead to rights at half, 10-0. Wasn't much anything to do. There was like turnovers that stifled Jags drives. Fourth down plays that didn't work. But then they had that touchdown again to 10-7. They're like, hey, things are coming their way. And that was it. That was, the Baltimore's like, okay, we're done playing. Shut them out that fourth quarter. Took them down 23-7. Wow. Clinching their playoff position. And giving me loss number 4. Up to the Pacific Northwest, where you had the Seahawks playing host to the Eagles. Drew Lock, we're getting his start. Come over from that trade for Russell Wilson from Denver. At this time frame, both the Cowboys and Eagles have already clinched their positions. Cowboys, despite losing, because of how other aspects of the games played out. So the Eagles are looking to take advantage of Dallas losing to get their lead back in the NFC East. Not so much. Walker returned for the Seahawks. Kind of helped balance everything. Jalen Hurts didn't look 100%, but still had some decent numbers himself. I mean, it went back and forth. Both defenses were on point. Philly had the lead 17-10 heading to the fourth, and that's when things just changed. Drew Lock actually led a game-winning drive. And saw at the end of the game, he was very emotional. This is something he's wanted to get back to, and the team just rallied around him, and they worked together. And Seattle knocked off Philly for their third straight loss, 20-17. Which reminds me, another team had 3 losses in a row. They're sitting at the top of the NFC right now, so I'm not panicking right now for Philly, but it doesn't look good. And there you go. Just quick synopsis. I think we get too many highlights. 11-5. Some positions already clinched. Like I said, with the 49ers clinched the division. Cowboys, Eagles, and Ravens are all in the playoffs. Then to this week's action, shall we? Let's start things off this Thursday. Remember, this is the holiday weekend, Christmas time. So, a little festive action going on. We'll start off Thursday out there in L.A., where the Rams play host to the Saints. Both these teams are battling for those positions. This is an old NFC West clash between these two, for those that can't remember those days. Jim Everett actually played for both these franchises. And wait, Stafford has just quietly put up some very decent numbers. You don't really hear his name flashed out there because he's not very mobile. I mean, remember, he's an old man. He's out there in a mobile wheelchair throwing the rock around. He's doing very good at it. Over 3,300 yards passing, 21 touchdowns, 9 picks. Cooper Kupp is back in action for him. Gives him another receiver. Nakio, the receiver rookie receiver, has put in some very good numbers. Very good numbers. Over 1,000 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns. So he has those capabilities there. He's got Williams in the backfield who's 50 yards shy from 1,000. So he'll definitely get that probably this game. And with that going there, the Rams are favored by 4. That defense for the Saints will give the Rams trouble. That's just put that out there right now. Um, it's the Saints' offense I'll kind of struggle with, but you look at the Rams' defense, they're not as dominant as they have been in the past. Commanders made a comeback charge against them. So this might end up being closer than what some people want. Right now, it's a 4-point advantage by the Rams. As I flip my paper over here, as I got in front down here, I'm taking the Rams as well. I think it'll be less than 4. I think this might be actually a 3-point game. This is I think how well the Saints could probably hamper any type of sustainability by the Rams, and the Rams could do the same thing for the Saints. So I think it's going to be a very close fought game. I think it's just which defense does not cough up the most electrifying plays. I think that's what it's going to boil down to. We have to Saturday. We only got 2 games on the docket, and we have the Bengals heading up to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. And questions abound by both the teams right now. I've already mentioned it earlier about Pickens' lack of effort for the Steelers' offense. Injuries are starting to plague the Bengals, taking out quite a few key elements. So which version are we going to see trying to elevate themselves? Right now, that Steelers offense, I am not 100% confident with at all. I have more faith in the injury-plagued Bengals offense than I do the Steelers. The defenses have more on Pittsburgh than do Cincinnati, especially how Pittsburgh got just blasted by the Colts. So they're going to look to try to enact some type of revenge tour. The Bengals defense actually looked really good last week as well. So it's going to be hard to really see which defensive front is going to come front and center and take command of the game. Right now, everything's pointing towards Cincinnati. Cincinnati is actually playing better. They're playing more of a team than Pittsburgh is right now. Like I said, there's rumbling that Tomlin could get his first losing season. He only has 3 games remaining, and he has to win 2 of them to avoid a losing season. With the injuries abound by Pittsburgh, or that's by Cincinnati, I think that gives me the question marks there. Can Tomlin beat Pickens to start playing? Old terminology. Of course, he's not going to do that physically, but he has to find some way to motivate Pickens to actually, give 110% instead of, 91%. The line right now has it as Cincinnati by 2.5. I'm going with Tomlin on this one. I'm going with the Steelers. I am uncertain about this matchup. It's just questions about the health of certain players for the Bengals has got me kind of questioning if they could actually take the next step. I have questions about Pittsburgh's offense as well. So I think it's which defense can do the most damage. I have more faith in Pittsburgh's defense than I do Cincinnati's, and that's the only reason why I'm going there. Then a game that a large portion of the population probably won't be seeing because it's exclusively on Peacock, and you have to pay for that service. You can sign up for free, but you have to pay to watch the NFL. And the Bills will take on the Chargers in this aspect. The Chargers will be under a new head coach, or a temporary head coach, should I say. The way Buffalo looked last week against Dallas, Chargers stand no chance. Buffalo's favored by 12. I'm not going to push back that absurd number. I think Buffalo's going to have a very, very well offensive game, and it's going to be Buffalo getting the 9th win to start marching towards the playoffs. Sunday, Santa probably watches a few of these games before he gets ready for his long night he has up to him. We'll head to Hotlanta where the Colts come to town, take on the Falcons. The Falcons have been a hit-and-miss team all season. They had more misses than hits, but 6-8. They found themselves only one game out of the division title, means a playoff berth. The offenses has these opportunities where they step up, make these great plays and great drives and win games late, and then they also have time frames that just fall flat in their face like they did last week in Charlotte. So which means they're prone to make a bounce-back game this week. Then you have the Colts. Right now, this is a team that's far exceeding expectations for this season. I didn't have them winning 8 games, period. But the fact they're sitting here at 8-6, scratching a playoff position. Gardner Minshew is having a phenomenal season of almost 2,800 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, but he does have 8 picks. And it's the running attack by the Colts. It's the defense stepping up. Pittman's been a lifesaver for Minshew of over 1,000 yards receiving. Right now, Atlanta's favored by 1. I get that because this tends to be kind of a bounce-back game for them. But I have a feeling Atlanta's going to have another letdown as the Colts come to town and escape Atlanta with a victory. Then over to Nashville, where the Titans play host to the Seahawks, and this is going to be very interesting. With Locke and taking on Levis, these two very good defenses. Which running back's going to have a better game? Will Derrick Henry get back to form, actually start running the game, have more of an impact than they did against Houston? Does Walker continue to make strides for the Seahawks and out to Tennessee's defense? Tennessee's defense has been stifling. Seahawks defense has been stifling. This is going to be the game to watch. I mean, I doubt if I won't be able to watch it in my area because where I'm at, I'll get someone else on my TV screen. But it's definitely one I want, be able to see on the ticker and see highlights of this game because this is going to be a phenomenal game. With that being said, Seattle has more to play for, I think, than Tennessee does. Seattle is actually in that NFC positions for those last spots a little bit tighter. A lot more teams battling for it. And Seattle could find a way to get in there. I mean, as long as everyone rallies around Locke once again, like they did against Philadelphia. And it's because they took on Philadelphia. I like the Seahawks slightly better than Tennessee. But nothing against Tennessee whatsoever. I guarantee this is going to be a very, very, very close game. The line right now is 3 points in favor of Seattle. I like that as well, Seahawks. Detroit will now head up to Minnesota to see if they can clinch the division. That's right. They haven't won a division since, 91? And it's been that long. That's when it was down to 3 divisions, the old NFC Central. As Chris Berman used to call it, the old NFC North division. And I have no I believe that they could do it. I have no inclinations that they can't. There's nothing I'm seeing from Minnesota that's going to deter me for picking Detroit. The way Detroit came back against Denver, against a playoff hopeful, lets me know. Then you see what Minnesota did against the Raiders. I mean, they couldn't do anything offensively and just got lucky with that field goal at the end. And then the game against Cincinnati where they just got manhandled defensively. They still put up a good fight, mind you. So this is not going to be a runaway game for the Lions at all. But I have more faith in Jared Goff right now with 3,700 yards passing. Montgomery right there in the backfield, over 850 yards rushing. I have more faith in those two right there than I do with the Vikings offense and the Vikings defense. I have a feeling Detroit's going to find ways to exploit some weaknesses in that defense, and I think the Lions going to go up to Minnesota, escape with a victory. Right now it's 3.5. I think it's going to be more of a 3-point game, so I'll probably go under in that aspect. But I think Detroit will go out there and win and take a, a division title, something they haven't had in a very, very long time. Then we head up to MetLife where the Jets will play host to the Commanders. And can the Commanders offense survive that Jets defense? That's a good question mark. Can the Jets offense survive the Commanders defense? I'll go more no. That Jets offense is in shambles. It is in shambles. Aaron Rodgers already said he's pretty much done for the season, and good. He needs to stay out. He needs to kind of sit back and go and tell the front office, fix that offensive line before I come back. And that is, I think that's what's going to help protect any Jets quarterback leaning forward, is invest money on the line. You need a good, solid offensive line. Right now, the Jets don't have it. Commanders don't really have a good defensive line right now because they trade away a lot of the players. Howell thinks a better quarterback than what the Jets have. And right now, the Jets are favored by 3. And it's just because of that Jets defense. I know I've been kind of harping on about the offensive line and kind of say that, the Commanders are a little bit better in that aspect, which I think they are. It's the defenses that I think they'll win this game. I think that the Jets defense is going to be better than the Commanders defense. The Jets are favored by 3. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a 2-0 game. I think it's going to be just a ugly, a fugly. Just put this out there. A fugly game between these two. I am going the Jets as well, just because of defense. Then you have the Packers head down to Charlotte. Can Charlotte duplicate 2 in a row? No. Green Bay is looking for a game to bounce back. It gives them Charlotte on the schedule. Jordan Love has had some inconsistencies lately, and that's what I expected earlier in the season when he had those great wins. No, he's kind of flipped the script where he's now struggling now. Wrong time to struggle. Should have done that early in the season. He could bounce back, had this great comeback. Good story. But I think Green Bay will have a nice bounce back game. They're favored by 5. I'm not going to push back that against either pack. We had the H-Town where the Texans play host to the Browns. There's already rumors that C.J. Stroud may not be starting this game. Still on concussion protocol, so I guess he got hit pretty dang hard. For the Browns, you got Flacco once again making another start. Can he continue to put up impressive numbers? That Texans front line will give him hell. You saw what they did with Tennessee. They played them extremely tight. This is a very, very young team, very well coached. Definitely playing well above expectations. 8 wins in the season in the hunt in the AFC South for division crown. Can Flacco lead the Browns to a playoff position? That's another one. Looking at this aspect, Cleveland is rallied around Flacco. And that's I think what's going to happen. It's going to be a rally. I think the Cleveland Browns defense will be better. The offense is going to find ways to counteract Houston's offense. Case Keenum is going to come back down to earth a little bit. You still got some decent numbers, but that front for Cleveland's going to give them a lot of trouble. Cleveland's favored by 2.5. I think it's going to be like that. I'm also going the Browns to win in H-Town. Now the Jags will head to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers in a battle of Florida. And Trevor Lawrence right now and the Jaguars are struggling. They're on the struggle bus. I have a feeling they're going to clean up some of those aspects of turnovers they had last week. They really hampered a lot of drives against Baltimore, but Tampa Bay is playing at a whole new level. They're rallying behind Baker Mayfield. They are pushing forward in this aspect, and I think that this will be a very, very tight contest. And I think it'll come down to a fourth quarter drive. Whoever has the ball last. Right now, Tampa's favored by 1. I like that as well. I'm going with the Bucs. I think the Bucs are going to find ways to make it to the playoffs with Baker Mayfield. to Chicago, where the Bears play host to the Cardinals, and to see which team comes out on top. Arizona's going to give them problems. Offensively, Arizona is going to give that Bears defense problems. But can Justin Fields counteract that? Can Mooney bounce back from the letdown he had last week? I have a feeling that the Bears will have a comeback game in this one. They're favored by 4. I'll push back on that one, definitely. I'm more conservative when it comes to these spreads. I'll go more with 3 just because of Arizona will definitely play him a lot tougher. Just because of the aspect of Kyler Murray and Connor as well in that backfield. But I think Justin Fields will have a decent game. Get him over that 2,000-yard threshold. Probably finding him running a bit more. Kind of split up that running attack against Arizona. Find ways to exploit the Cardinals. I'm taking the Bears to win at home. Then we had the South Beach as the Dolphins play host to the Cowboys. And can the Dolphins continue to abuse the Cowboys? The Cowboys went to Western New York and could not stop the run. Guess what the Dolphins can do? They can run. And if you find ways to stop the run, then they hit you with their 2 speedsters in Tyreek Hill and Waddle. Well, I think Hill will be back in action. But can, Michael Parsons and the rest of the Cowboys defense get to Tua Tagovailoa? No. I think they will eventually. They'll get him a couple times, but he'll win more than lose. And if Miami can run that ball at Dallas, just run down their throat as well, it definitely changed the aspect of this game. I look at this as I think Miami. If Miami can just go to Moser and go run, and he'll just go all right, and he's off and running, I definitely see him hit his 1,000-yard threshold in this game. I also see them be able to pick apart the Dallas secondary and just kind of get away from Gilmore and hit the other side. So when we have 2 key receivers there, it'd be hard for Dallas to kind of concentrate on one receiver. Then he gives up Moser the ability to run, but they concentrate on the run. Then you get the 2 receivers. I mean, this is too many aspects. I mean, Quinn will try to find ways to make this work. But I think he's going to be chasing his own tail. Miami's favored by 1.5. I think this will be more. This is one of the few times I'm actually going to go, no, more. I think Dallas will make this close, yes. But I think Miami will find ways to extend this. Probably win by 6. But I'm going with Dolphins. Mile High Network on Sunday night. The Christmas Classic on the NFL Network. And with this one, I think it's going to be one-sided affair. This is the game, of course, Stan's not going to be watching because he's going to be too busy at this time frame. I think Russell Wilson's going to find ways to bounce back in this game. It's going to be the game that probably be culminate the end of the Bill Belichick era in New England. Maybe. I think his time frame as GM is done. They may keep him there to try to see if he can beat Don Shula's record for wins as a Patriot. But we'll see how this offseason goes. But I think the Bill Belichick era, post Brady, lets you know that it was Brady that really took the Bill Belichick system and took it to the next level. Belichick has yet to find that next quarterback to kind of give him that aspect. So, but I think Russ and the rest of that Denver team will rally around this one. The Broncos defense will give New England, no matter who's the starter is it Jones, Zappe, doesn't matter. They'll have a hard time against this defense. Denver's favored by 6.5. Sure, why not? Let's go Broncos. Christmas Day, on that, we'll kick things off there in Kansas City. Most of you will probably be done opening those presents. Kids are already arguing over the toys. Something's broken. The dog's missing. And the cat has a and has tape on his fur and is running around the house like a mad. And you're starting to start preparing a Christmas dinner, to getting that turkey or the ham ready. And the Chiefs will have the Raiders in town, taking them on. The Chiefs had issues a couple weeks ago. Really mad about that offensive play. Offside call. Both Mahomes and Reed were fined for that one. They bounced back against New England. The defense came to town, stepped up as well. There's still some issues with the receiving core, and that's going to be the hot topic in the rest of the season. The Chiefs going to look at this game as a way to bounce back. But the Raiders are not going to go away. You still have Max Crosby on the defensive line, who's going to ensure his double X name will trying to corral Mahomes as best as possible. Again, the Raiders secondary played safe against the Chiefs offense. Because outside Kelsey, no one else stepping to the plate really to be the number one guy. But the Chiefs' defense is a lot better than a lot of people give them credit for. So can they stifle both Jacobs and Devontae Adams? I think they can. Chiefs are favored by 10. A lot closer than that. This is a AFC West divisional game. And it's going to be a lot closer. I would not be surprised if the Raiders are leading at halftime. I won't be surprised if they're leading in the third quarter. I think it's going to be a fourth quarter comeback by the Chiefs. They're going to win by a touchdown at the most. But Chiefs winning the first game on Christmas. And then we have that NFC East matchup between the Giants and the Eagles. Old school rivalry right here. Philly needs this win badly. They've lost 3 in a row. Like I said, they have the next 3 games where they're going to be heavily favored. And they have 2 against the Giants. 1 against Arizona. It's smack dab in the middle of that one. The Giants should play them somewhat tough as well. Because they got to get Bears last week in New Orleans. But Philly's defense is looking for retribution. Philly's offense is looking for retribution. As long as they can stifle Barkley, DeVito, he may have a few good plays, but he's going with a very good defense. Philly's favored by 12. I'm hard pressed to push against that. But once again, I think Philadelphia's going to come in this game and looking to just open up the playbook and just go all out. But especially if Dallas loses in Miami, this is their opportunity to take the lead in that division. But that 1-game edge right there. There's still two more games to play. They just need 1 more victory and they'll clinch it. I mean, there's a lot of things layering up here. But I think Philadelphia has the best opportunity to win out. And I think they're going to edge out the Giants. I said edge out, but I'm not pushing back the 12-point spread. So, like I said, with it being the divisional game, I think it's going to be closer than 12, but I'm not going to push back that because I'm not 100% certain which version of Philadelphia is going to show up. Is it the same one's been struggling the past 3 weeks? Or is it one's going to finally go back to form and ball out? But definitely Philly in the win. And to cap things off there on ABC on Monday Night Football, Baltimore Ravens will head out to Santa Clara to take on the 49ers. Right now, the 2 number 1 seeds in their representative conferences. Could this be a Super Bowl preview? Very well might. Way both these teams are playing right now, they're playing out their gorge, but San Francisco has a plethora of threats on offense, led by Brock Purdy. I think Christian McCaffrey, who I think should be the MVP, way he is so instrumental in how this team plays. He can get you with a run and catch, and he can block. George Kittle, Ayuk, Samuel. I mean, that's 5 offensive players you have to worry about. And defense, you have one of the Bosa brothers. You also have Chase Young as well on the other side. So you have 2 anchors on that defensive front that can wreak havoc. Note, they're playing the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. You also got Roquan Smith on their linebacking core, who's got to try to figure out which guy he's going to take and limit their effectiveness. And I think his number one priority will be Christian McCaffrey. Can he eliminate that threat? Can Bosa and Young contain Lamar Jackson? No. And this is going to be a game between MVP contenders. Lamar Jackson and I think Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy's got a lot of attention. But I give it more to McCaffrey than I would then in those. But it seems MVP's been a quarterback award. But I want to start pushing towards McCaffrey, getting more love in that aspect. But which offense can overcome the defense? Like I said, San Francisco's got too many weapons. Baltimore, a little more dynamic, especially with Lamar Jackson. And you have Odell Beckham Jr., who's going to be a huge factor in this game. Trey Flowers, who's able to play, is going to be another huge factor. So the Ravens don't have those big name talent guys. I mean, besides Odell, but they have those talent guys that are just the blue collar workers that just put to work. Odell's actually one of those guys as well. So Odell's kind of both roles. But anyways, talking to both sides of my mouth at the exact same time. But with this aspect, I think San Francisco is slightly better than Baltimore. I wouldn't surprise it will be a really tight game. Right now, the line's 5.5. I will push back on that one. I think it will be a lot tighter. But I will give 49ers the edge and coming out on top. Probably solidifying their number one position in the NFC, ensuring that if they win out, all roads lead through Santa Clara. Well, those are the games. Let me know down below what you really think, which games. Like I said, there's a few of them out there I'm kind of questioning about, like my pick of the Steelers beating the Bengals. That's up there. I think the Baltimore-San Francisco game is definitely going to be close. Jacksonville, Tampa Bay is another one. Washington and the Jets are definitely another interesting one. Seahawks, Titans. So there's a few games out there. A lot of intermined tones in there. A lot of jostling of the playoff positions as well. Can the Eagles take the lead in the NFC East? Become the first back-to-back division champ since the Eagles. I don't know. A lot of football still have to play. Like I said, it's only 3 weeks left, so we're down to the nitty-gritty. But with this holiday edition, make sure, like I said, you have a safe, wonderful Christmas, safe, wonderful holidays, depending on however way you want to celebrate this time of year. Enjoy your time frame with friends and family. Avoid topics that can create even more dissent. And just have a day of peace between you all and cherish the moment you have with them. But let me know down below what you think of these picks. Be mindful and respectful of everyone's opinions. Everyone has one. Some a little bit stronger than others. It's mixing up in the comments really helps promote the algorithm. Really gets this out to the ether, to the masses. Another way that really helps out, getting that thumbs up, especially like what the content providing you, it really helps it out. Please, the almighty YouTube algorithm that get this channel motoring along. Another thing can really help out, and it costs you a dime. Subscribe. Over 90% of you are not subscribed. Like I said, this costs you anything. All you do is hit that subscribe button, click that bell icon, turn notifications, let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.